All right, welcome everyone to our very first one-on-one. Today we have our first one-on-one with not really our newest anymore because we couldn't get it going quite, but our second most recent high admin to be added on. He is taking the place of Walker, I believe. So I'm very thankful for Alundil for joining me today. So how's it going today, Alundil?
It's going quite well. Thank you for asking.
Excellent, excellent. Well, as I said, thanks for joining us, us being me exclusively.
That's an
Hence the
exclusive interview.
hence the one-on-one. I feel I'm quite special. I'm hosting a one-on-one now, so y'all listeners don't get to hear the fun voices of everyone else. They just get my ugly ass voice. So everyone knows what the one-on-one is going to be. Is our plan for it is to be a one-on-one interview, get to know type talk mini cast every month. That'll hopefully should be coming out every month on the 5th of the month, and we'll introduce you to someone within the community. Since we have some pretty big changes coming out, we have a few new high admins, so we're going to start with them. As I said, Al's one of our new ones, and then we'll pull in some of the old ones. You might not know much about them, listeners, and all that. What good stuff! So hopefully it'll be a pretty interesting little series we have for you. But so we'll go ahead and get started. So as I said, well, first off, yes, we can start. How's it feel to be a high admin now, Al?
It feels pretty good. Not in the haha, I'm at the top kind of way, but it feels good in the sense that I've been here at TPG since 2007, and I've seen a lot of different changes. A lot of things happen, good things, bad things, not so, one way or the other things. Um, and it feels nice to know that I'm in a spot now where I can have maybe a little bit more influence on how things go, uh,
Mm-hmm.
help help growth, help kind of steer the ship a little bit because gaming is in a fairly transitive state. It always is, but I think that rate of change has gotten much faster in the last 2 or 3 years, and we as a community need to adapt to that. So it feels good in that multifaceted manner.
So I mean, I'd like to get to know people. Really, this is getting to know. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna make you think. You were born back in the day of I don't know. I don't have fancy looking people stuff up. So what time period were you born in?
I was born in the late 70s, 77, and so that's when I was born.
Born late '70s, grew up mainly through the '80s,
Grew up
late
through the
'80s.
80s. Yeah, grew up through the 80s. Was extremely heads down on school and sports through pretty much all of the 80s and the early 90s. It wasn't until I got into college and figured out that there were lots of different things to distract myself with.
So where you mentioned college, where did you end up going to college?
I went to college in a small private university down in Fort Lauderdale called Nova Southeastern. Was there 4 years, got my undergraduate, and then a couple years after that, I moved to Houston, and that's where I'm at now.
Okay, so you originally from Florida then.
Originally, actually from
Oh,
Lafayette, Louisiana.
okay.
So
And
there was
then
some moving around in there.
I'm just assuming people are like me and don't parents didn't move. So originally from Louisiana,
Hmm.
where all have you been between Louisiana and Houston?
So was born and lived in Lafayette, Louisiana, and then moved to one suburb, basically, or small city next to Fort Lauderdale in the late 80s, and then moved to a different small city next to Fort Lauderdale and was there throughout the rest of my time in Florida, and then moved to Houston.
So what did you end up majoring in while you were in
So
college?
my declared major when I entered college was pre-law, and my bachelor's degree is in legal studies, which is what my university considers a pre-law bachelor's degree. And so, by education, I could have gone into law school. A lot of people that I know and a lot of family and friends think that I should have. They said that I would be a fantastic attorney, but I decided that the law school bills were pretty unpalatable, and fell into a job doing computers, and that's become my career now. So that's pretty much what I'm doing now.
So, what do you do within the realm of computers then?
So I am a systems and database analyst for a major hospital in the Houston area.
Okay. I remember hearing something. Oh, that's right. I remember you writing about that on
Hmm.
in the forum. So, is that what you've been doing the entire time you've been in Houston? Or have you jumped around?
I
So,
have I started as a contractor at that same hospital the first year I was in Houston. And after that first year, they liked the service and the skills that I brought to the table, and they offered me a full-time position, and I've been there ever since.
all right, excellent. So, doing systems admin work at a hospital
Hmm.
in Houston. Excellent.
Yep.
So, I know for those who don't, Alundil is a happily married man,
Yes, I am.
assuming happily.
No, no, no
Very.
assuming necessary.
With some lovely children that I know nothing about. So I will ask your wife. How long have you been with your wife? Or did you meet? Do you have any lovely stories you'd like to tell regarding that?
So we have just passed our first anniversary, so we were newly married. We've been together for about 5 years, and actually met her at we both work for the same hospital, and
Okay.
so we met there. Actually, we met there about 9 years ago, um, and friendly coworker kind of thing. I was doing support for one of the departments that she happened to work in, and so we would see each other infrequently. And kind of funny how life, weaves things together. And she went through a divorce several years ago, and I went through a divorce a few years later. And strange life's strange coincidence, and we wound up getting together, and it's been a very happy, fun ride ever since.
All right, excellent. Well, congratulations. I didn't
Thank
realize
you.
you were so recently married.
Yeah, thank you.
So, as I mentioned, you do have children. Do y'all? I'm assuming your children are from your previous marriage. I don't.
She has two from her previous marriage, and I've got one from mine.
Okay.
And they are 14, 11, and just newly turned 8. So we are in the teenage, teenage and tween time period, and one of them's going to be driving soon.
Oh.
God help us all.
So stay off the roads in Houston, eh?
Staying off the roads in Houston is never a bad idea. It's
Sure.
not always fun to drive down here. So
I tried to drive through Houston myself. That's one of the reasons I do not want to live there. So, also going back to when you're growing up through Louisiana and Florida,
hmm
uh, did you have were both of your parents around? Did they become divorced? Anything? If you care to
no,
share.
no, they were both around. They were both very involved. They're both still very much married to each other. So that's good. It's fairly, I guess, at one point, I guess it would be well, this is a very normal thing. I guess sadly it's not quite as normal as it used to be,
Hmm.
but no, they're still happily married, and they're living in South Florida.
So,
Things are good.
what would your father's profession be or have been?
He is, well, he's still working. He is a national sales manager or sales representative for a international company that builds and sells heavy truck parts.
Okay. And your mother? Did she was she at home? Did she work?
No, she worked. She does the bookkeeping for a small but extremely busy company whose owners also own multiple other companies that she also does the bookkeeping for. So she's also extremely busy.
She keeps herself busy then.
She keeps herself very busy. Yeah.
So also on the topic of your family,
Hmm.
your descendants, do you have any siblings?
I do. I have a younger brother by 2 years, and I have a younger sister by 5 years.
All right. Do you keep in touch with them? I mean,
I do. Yeah, not as often as I should, and that may or may not be common, but no, we have a good relationship. We still talk to each other with some regularity, more frequently around holidays and birthdays, but throughout the year we'll exchange little, hey, how's it going, whatnots.
pretty typical. I'm assuming since you moved from South Florida to from Florida to Houston, there's a greater chance that there is some spreading out of your family throughout
We
the.
are, yeah, we are kind of spread out. My immediate family, mom, dad, brother, sister, they're all still in South Florida. But I've got a lot of family still in Louisiana. I've got some extended family. Actually, I have an aunt and some cousins here in Houston, and second cousins and great aunts and uncles kind of scattered about the country
Mhm.
with, you know, different areas. Usually, pretty much all of them in the eastern seaboard, southeast area.
Once you start throwing in those twos and threes, you definitely pretty much everyone starts to spread out
Yeah,
by
yeah,
that point. But
yeah.
excellent. So, when did you initially start getting into gaming?
Oh gosh. I think it was probably, let's see, when I was about 7 or 8, maybe. My one of my aunts was uh, was a doctor and had done pretty well for herself, and decided that she wanted to get my parents a computer. This is back in the 80s,
Hmm.
and so she bought a Commodore 64 for my mom and dad, and they were using it for word word processing type functions, and you know bill tracking and things, because at that point the internet was not a widely uh, used tool yet. I think we got internet in like the mid 80s through CompuServe, and that was awesome for its time, but it was not that great. But I digress. Gaming though started out with Jumpman and Triad and Joust on the Commodore 64 PC, and they were cartridges that you would plug into the back of the keyboard, and that's where I got started.
Did you stay? I mean, obviously, you in your adult life were still playing. So, did you stay gaming throughout the late '80s and '90s, and just and
Yeah,
watch the entire whatever the word I'm looking for is? Watch gaming grow, the culture grow.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I pretty much have been a gamer since then. Different things or different periods in life. Uh, Sometimes you get to play a little bit more, or get involved a little bit more than others.
Hmm.
But I've played pretty much PC type things since then. Um, the original Team Fortress, I was one of the first, not I was one of the first, but that was one of the first online shooters that I ever got involved in. Playing endless hours of, Two Fort
Yeah.
as a sniper guy was, I thought, great stuff. Um, Played some of the early MMOs for a few years. Asheron's Call was a lot of fun, I thought, and so that was, I guess, the mid to late '90s period. Wing Commander, all of the Wing Commanders, Privateers, those were just some great things in the late '80s and early '90s, and those held my attention and held my interest.
So you came to TPG by Battlefield 2, correct?
Battlefield 2142.
2142.
Close
Okay.
enough.
So how did you obviously through 2142 what was that whole what was the whole getting to TPG like for you?
So I work with,
TTP in that at that sense, but
yeah, TP at that point. I work with Laggy and Groovy. who I'm not sure. Well, I know you know of the name, but he was a former high admin,
Hmm.
um, and he and I have worked together for about 8 years now. And he introduced me to 2142 and TPG or TTP at the time. He kept telling me be sitting in the office, and I was talking about I don't know what I was talking about, and he said, you really need to try this first person shooter. And so I downloaded the demo, played the demo of 2142, loved it, and then eventually, I say eventually, a couple months later, I actually bought the full game, and he dragged me into TTP and started playing on the servers and introduced me to the forum, and so I started making friends, and it's kind of taken off from there.
Taken off is kind of an understatement, I'd say.
Yeah.
With the forum whoring I've seen you do. So recently, mentioning the forums, I mentioned this to you earlier, but there was the question of were you a team player before TPG? So I'm going to pose that question to you. Would you have considered yourself a team player before you were introduced to TPG or TTP at that point, and why?
So first, the answer to the question is absolutely. The why is I grew up playing team sports, played baseball and basketball and soccer for a number of years, played baseball all the way through college. So you kind of have to be a team player. Um, Not everybody that plays those sports is a team player, but by and large, most of them are. I don't think that you get very successful in team sports without being a team player. Was a leader of a fraternity in college, and you kind of have to be a team player there too. You have to work with the people that you interact with, be that fraternity members or the Greek organization at the school or other fraternities or other sororities. They're all kind of a team function or team feel to them. I find employment to be a team function. I work on a team of 6 or 7 people, and we have to work as a team. We have to cover each other's backs. We have to support each other. And so, yeah, I mean, TTP, no TTP, I'm a team player. I think the reason why I enjoy the community as much as I do is because that team player mentality is instilled and supported from the top down and from the bottom up. And so it really fits my personality.
So I completely understand the team player and the just loving the main aspect about the community. I'd say, but so as you obviously have a real life, have kids and a wife
Hmm.
and job and things, but uh, what games do you currently play? What are you playing these days? Playing anything new? Sticking with the old stuff?
So the thing that I have probably put the most time into in the last, say, 6 months is probably Eve Online. So I'm enjoying that quite a bit, and I still every now and then I'll play some Battlefield 3. The latest iteration has not been the ideal game for me. I'm starting to get into PlanetSide 2. I've got a couple hours into that, and I think that it's closer to a good team required game than most of the other things that have come out in the last 6 to 9 months or so. And so I have a feeling I'll probably be spending more time in that um, as we go forward.
So besides gaming, do you have any other hobbies that you enjoy or?
I like to read. I read quite a bit, not as much as I used to, but I do enjoy reading quite a bit. Enjoy going to the movies and watching movies with my wife or with my wife and the kids. Enjoy music. Not much of a concert goer, but I do enjoy uh, live types of music. So when we get a chance to hear some live bands at a restaurant or something, that's always kind of nice. If we had more time to do that, that'd be nice too.
Always, if there was more time.
Yeah, I'd petition for 36 days if I could get away with it.
So, since you mentioned it, what kind of music are you into? You mentioned liking live music. Is there a particular genre or type or that you
Uh,
prefer more? Or
it's my tastes are, I think, well, personally, I think they're pretty eclectic in the sense that they're all over the map. I like jazz. I like classical classical music. Um, I used to listen to a lot more country than I do now, but I still occasionally like to listen to that. I like new, uh, well, I say new. I like rock and roll. So whatever the radio stations that play rock are playing. So what, I don't know what you call that anymore. They used to call it alternative, and then it went to something else. Um,
I don't know. I'm stuck in the '70s. I listen to classic rock. So,
Nothing wrong with that either.
oh,
I'm known to listen to that too. Uh, Dubstep is something that I listen to quite a bit at the office if I'm stuck on a tough problem. I know it may sound counterintuitive, but it's kind of helps me focus a little bit, I think.
I understand. I completely understand. All over the place. Music is music, and
Hmm.
most as long as it's good, it's good.
Sounds good. It's got some kind of a melody to it that you can pick out. Everything else is gravy.
Exactly. All right. Well, I think we're getting pretty close to finishing up here. I have obviously I mentioned that you being in high admin. I know I'm excited to see what you bring the new energy to see what you can bring and some maybe some changes. But planning, we'll go ahead and finish up.
Okay.
If for our listeners, if anyone has ever watched, as I said, the Inside the Actor Studio, hosted by James Lipton, he likes to end every time with a questionnaire, same 10 questions, but the concept was originated by Pivot. For after the Prost questionnaire. I probably didn't say any of that correctly. Anyway, same 10 questions. I'm going to steal the same 10 questions, and we're going to end on this note. So, first, what is your favorite word?
Hmm. I have to say my favorite word would be literally.
What would your least favorite word be?
Least favorite word is uh.
Now I'm gonna just. I just decided we're going to remove two of his questions because it's kind of odd. So, what sound or noise do you love?
I love the sound of my kids' laughter.
What sound or noise do you hate?
The sound of complaint.
Also from the kids, obviously.
It doesn't matter who.
Well,
It's the yeah.
it can come from the kids.
Sure. Oh yes. Oh yes.
What is your favorite curse word?
Favorite curse word is probably damn or damn it or some variation of that.
What profession, other than the one you currently have, would you like to attempt?
You know, can I put two in there?
Absolutely.
I've always wanted to. I've always thought about or thought it'd be nice to be a game designer, which would kind of stick in the same IT role that I've kind of been, or at least in IT,
Hmm.
the creative aspect of it. The other one that intrigues me and makes me really think about is being a surgeon.
And what profession would you not like to do?
I would not like to be an accountant.
And finally, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Welcome, and it's not the same that you've been hearing it is.
Excellent. Well, Elendil, I'd like to thank you for being our guinea pig, the first guest for
Oh,
our
glad to do it.
one-on-one.
Glad to do it.
As I said, looking forward to see the energy and what you bring as one of our new high admins, and always enjoy the thought you put behind in most much of what you put on the forums. That's act what you put on the forum that matters that I've
Well,
seen.
thank you.
So I
Thank you.
I do appreciate that, and I'm, as I said, looking forward to see what you bring for us here in the coming months and years.
And I'm looking forward to being creative and kind of out of the box and helping move us forward.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. My pleasure.